Hi, I'm Ed Schad, curator of the Broad Museum in downtown Los Angeles, and I'm here to talk to you a bit about Warhol's celebrity portraits of the early 1960s. It has become commonplace to think of Warhol's celebrity portraits as being more recognizable than the celebrities in them. I first came across this thought in graduate school when my professor told me that when he thought of Marilyn Monroe, he thought of Andy Warhol first, and less about Marilyn Monroe's movies or her biography. I remember thinking at the time, did I even know any Marilyn Monroe movies? I knew a few, some like It Hot or The Misfits, but the celebrities around me, who loomed large in my world, certainly had more tabloid and societal presence than Marilyn Monroe did at that moment. Yes, it seemed I knew Marilyn more from Andy Warhol. Elizabeth Taylor, too. In 2003, when I was a graduate student, Taylor was still alive. I knew who she was. I knew of her AIDS activism and those mini diamond commercials, but I certainly could not tell you about how much I loved Cat on a Hot Tin Roof or tell you about seeing National Velvet for the first time. I understood that Elizabeth Taylor was a celebrity, but I could also imagine a time when her celebrity glow would fade. Take Rudolph Valentino. He was once the biggest star on earth. How often do you think of him? I would be willing to bet that you do not have a photograph of Sarah Bernhardt on your wall, though there was a time when painters begged the actress to sit for them as their model. Maybe it is because they shine so brightly, but when celebrities start to fade from view, they seem to become ghosts, both present and meaningless at the same time. Yet, their old images live on, bright and shiny, and sometimes, like with Warhol's Marilyns and Liz's, they live on in museums. You can know a person was famous. The number of images there are of them in the world confirm it. But it's also common not to know exactly why, especially when the celebrity is a generation or two removed from you. At the Broad, we have examples of both the bright and the faded, both in Andy Warhol's world. In Liz 1963, we have a very glamorous Elizabeth Taylor against a bright blue background. It is an image literally taken from a publicity still, a promotional photo from her movie, Butterfield 8. Liz looks great here, with her green eyeshadow and sharply drawn, vibrantly red lips. On the other hand, the Broad also has two Marilyns from 1962. Also a publicity still, this time from the movie Niagara. Marilyn, however, I must say is not looking too good here. She instead is fading into the process of being silkscreened. The image on the right is especially messy in relation to the image on the left, as though it has slipped from its register or has become caught in a printer. When Warhol made these images, both Liz and Marilyn were losing their life. Two Marilyns was made right after the actress's suicide in 1962, and Liz, 1963, was made after Elizabeth Taylor underwent life-threatening and very severe pneumonia. In other words, Warhol seemed to be preparing their image for a life after death. These portraits seem both instructive about how images fade and also memorial in that they seem to come across as tributes. Warhol presents both the glow and the inevitability of that glow's slow extinguishing. Warhol's 1960s portraits have been called icons, and I have always thought that that was exactly correct. Warhol was an Orthodox Catholic, and Orthodox Catholics know icons. An icon is not simply an image. It is a tradition of passing on the legacy and even the essence of a person down through the ages. The story goes like this. The evangelist St. Luke painted the Virgin Mary from life. He recorded her light into a painting, and every subsequent icon painted of the Virgin Mary retains some of that light. So when you go to an Orthodox church and there is an icon right inside the door, you are meant to kiss it. You are meant to encounter it. And in a way, you are encountering some of the essence of the Virgin or of the saint that you are going to visit. You ready yourself for worship by communicating with those who came before. Warhol's portraits of Liz and Marilyn both seem to live in and test that tradition. To me, they seem almost desperate to keep and enshrine something that is destined to fade away. The blue Liz is gorgeous, sealed in paint, a celebrity for all time. However, the faded Marilyns prove that this cannot and will not last.